Welcome to Side Notes. I'm at the Toronto Web Fest 2014. Please enjoy the interviews. Thank you. I'm here with Robin Dunne, who's an actor. You've been involved with web series, you've been involved with feature movies. You were just here, the guest at Super Geeked Up here at Toronto Web Fest. I know that in the past you're involved with a web series called Sanctuary, 2008. I was watching that last night, parts of it. What kind of actors, how many actors were involved with that project?
Well, Sanctuary was a very interesting thing because it started off as a web series, but then it went to television. I believe it was the first show to successfully make the jump from the web to television. So we did 6 webisodes, I think, and then we ended up doing 4 seasons on television. So I mean, there were many, dozens and dozens and dozens of actors involved. In the core cast, I would say there was 5, 6, 7 people, but really cool and a great example of how web series can not only showcase work but lead to a different incarnation of work, which in the case of Sanctuary, going from web to TV.
Yeah, there's a lot of web series that I was talking to today, yesterday too. The creators, only about 1 or 2 people involved, so they're just starting out. And Sanctuary was a perfect example of one that succeeded. Talking to a couple other ones yesterday that had viewership of 50 million.
50 million?
50 million. They were involved with IKEA, so they ran for multiple years. But what I'd like to know, I mean, when the people are just getting involved in this industry and just creating their web series, and they're in their basement or they're in their apartment and sitting in a really crap space, what kind of advice could you give them so that they are motivated to want to continue doing it and hopefully one day they're successful?
Well, I mean, I think the main thing is to find a story that you want to tell, and really keep at it. And it's interesting too because now we're in probably the best time ever for creative people because the technology is such that anybody can really have access to it, and now we have the web, which people can showcase their material and get it out there. And whatever you're trying to do with your work, whether you want to keep it as a web series, whether you want to turn it into something else, I think the important thing is to find a story that you want to tell, and really just stick to it, and know that you have all the resources available to you. And that's different from any other time. 20 years ago, people didn't have that opportunity. And now, not only do you have the ability to make your product, but you also have the ability to get it out there in an incredible way. Like the web series that you were mentioning, getting 50 million hits or views. I mean, that's incredible, and that's something that is available to anybody who really just sits down and focuses.
I know in the past with the big blockbuster movies, it was all Hollywood. You're born here in Toronto, and what I'm finding now is the independent world is starting to take over from Hollywood, and the web series is really starting to come on. Where do you see the web series sitting in the marketplace, let's say within the next couple of years?
It's hard to say. I mean, when we did Sanctuary, the webisodes for Sanctuary, that was, I want to say it was 2007. So not so long ago in terms of time, but in terms of the web, it's huge. And so I think in us making the jump to TV, I think that there will be, and there have been web series that have been able to do that. But at the same time, I think at that time everybody wanted to do a web series because they wanted to try to get it to television. And I think obviously there's still that sentiment with a lot of people. But at the same time, I think the web has come so far that people see it now as the end product will be on the web, right? Which is not the case when we started Sanctuary. So it's hard to say. I mean, I think people will be turning to the web to watch television now, to watch their shows. It's slowly happening, but I think we'll see it a lot more in the near future.
Well, you're involved with the American Psycho American Psycho 2. Yeah. It's called the American Girl. I know you're involved with other film projects. Do you have any other upcoming projects that are going to be released out into the theater shortly?
Yes, actually, I did this very cool horror movie last year here in Toronto and actually in Hamilton called Torment with Catherine Isabel, and that'll be coming out this year. And it was an interesting foray for me into that world because I've worked so much in the sci-fi world, and to see how amazing the sci-fi fandom is, to venture into the horror world and experience that fandom, which there's a little bit of crossover, but they're also very two distinct things. It was really interesting to me, and a real fun project called Torment. Very difficult to shoot because it's a horror movie, so we were like, screaming and crying and getting chased and getting tortured and getting killed, and it was all took place at night, so it was all night shoots. So it was a challenge. It was fun, but it was a challenge to make. But I think it's going to be a really cool movie.
There's also another project called, I think it's Defiance, that you were involved with.
Yeah. I did some work on the sci-fi show Defiance, and that'll be coming out this summer. I believe they start airing in June, the second season.
Well, they're bringing you back again. Apparently, they're putting a lot of makeup on you this time.
Yeah, there's I don't know if I'm at liberty to talk about it too much, but there's definitely I appear in the show, and it was a lot of it's a great show to work on. It's a very cool sci-fi. The world is really big. It's very the scope of the show is huge. So it was a lot of fun to work on, and yeah, I think look out for season 2 because it's coming up in a few weeks, I think.
Any website you want to share with people so they can go check out your portfolio and maybe contact you, ask you some questions?
Yeah, I mean, I have robindunne.com you can go to. I also have a Twitter handle, which that's like, so I can be modern, and I do have Twitter. It's this new thing called Twitter. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but my Twitter handle is my name @Robin Dunne.
And where do you see the film industry going not only within Toronto, but let's say elsewhere, from the independent side to the web series side?
Well, the web series will always, just as it's contributing to television series that are coming up, it's doing the same thing for film, independent film. I mean, look, we're always going to live in a world where there are big blockbuster movies, and thankfully, because we all love those movies. But the independent world is really going to be helped by creative people, like you say, sitting down and getting together with their friends and making stuff. I mean, when I look at the movies that I love like Shaun of the Dead and all the Simon Pegg gang who are making those movies. And basically, those are guys who got together and said, "Hey, let's make some stuff." And the fact that anybody can really do that right now is really exciting as a creative person, to see what people can do and not only make your stuff, but get it out there and get it seen by people.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. It was great to be here. And the red light is still on, so it was